All right, we are joined today with my friend LJ.
Appreciate you, brother.
Before we get into LJ and what he's going to talk about, let's start with a cigar that was bought at Jerry's Cigar Lounge, recommended. My friend told me that he likes lighter cigars, so I got you a Corojo Grand Reserve
Appreciate you.
Habano. I don't know if you've ever smoked one or not.
I don't believe I have.
All right. So while we are getting our cigars started, I would like to give a thing out to people. I've had a few people contact us about coming on. We're welcome to anybody. I know it's political season. If you're a politician and want to come on, I have no problem having you on. Just understand if somebody asks a fair question, we're going to ask that question for you. So if you're a business owner and would like to come on, we'd love to have you. I don't really want to get into doing visual, not visual, what's it called, LJ? Where they stream it in. I'd prefer to have you on the,
You talking about the virtual?
yeah. I'd prefer to have you here in the dirt floor with us so we can have real conversations. But if you do want to come on, we'd love to have you. Like and share the page that you're watching it on. Now, LJ, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm 33. I've been in Tallahassee since 2016. Just really blessed to be here, man. I came to Tallahassee for school. I graduated, and then I chose to stay in Tallahassee. I thought about jumping to a bigger city, Atlanta, Houston, Raleigh, where have you. But I come from a small town, Clay County, in Green Cove Springs. A lot of folks don't know, where that's from, where that's at. It's a little bit south of Jacksonville. So
Okay.
it's pretty much an insider when you meet folks from Clay County. Well, when someone asks us, where are we from, we always say Jacksonville. And they were like, where at in Jacksonville? And then we have to really tell them, hey, actually Green Cove Springs, Florida. Yeah, a little small town, proud graduate of Clay High School, class of 2010. But after I finished up school here in Tallahassee, I worked in sales for a while. During college, I worked at the DoubleTree for a while, DoubleTree Hotel downtown as a banquet server, and that broke my back and my heart. And to look at that paycheck, knowing I had worked that hard all week for maybe $400 or $500, I said, hey, I'm gonna stick to staying in school and finishing up or doing something. But back in sales, I took that job because I really needed a job, but that was probably the best thing that ever could have happened to me, because a sales job forces you to communicate and build relationships with people quickly, like you have to earn your money.
Well, 100%.
So I feel, and this is just me, I feel, especially in this society where folks are raised by tablets these days, their attention spans are gone. They can send risky text messages and DMs to folks and do all this crazy stuff and talk mess to folks online. But once you get in person with a person, once you make that eye-to-eye contact, do you have that same energy? You know what I mean? So the skill of sales has taken me through every job I've ever had, but I had to learn it there and had to really cut my teeth in sales. But from sales, jumped into finance for a while. Went up to Thomas University. Well, I won't say up to. We're in Thomasville. I thank God for Thomas University. That was my first big professional job. Went back down to finance. Worked in banking for a while, and then in workforce. But I enjoyed my time in every job I've had, because once I learned that skill of selling and people skills, it took me everywhere. It took me everywhere because I genuinely love talking to people. I genuinely love how people think and react and all of that. Like the dynamics of life fascinate me. So that's a little bit about me. I'm extremely passionate about, efficiency and what makes things work and how do we streamline processes and, but I'm a funny person too, man. I love to sit and laugh. I'll laugh at everything. I'll laugh at any and everything. You know what I mean?
I understand. I'm the same way.
The pain, laughter, what have you, or anything in between, man. I'll laugh at a funeral. You know what I mean? Like you have to find humor in everything because I tell you, life is hard. Life is hard. Life throws monkey wrenches at you all the time, and you can sit and pivot and button yourself up and put on your big man drawers or big lady panties and do some work, or you can sit and complain. And I'm not raised to be a complainer. I'm raised to get stuff done, to figure things out, and to produce a product that we can all be happy with. But that's a little bit about me, man. Just proud and excited to sit in front of you today, brother.
Well, I am excited to have you. You said a couple of things we'll touch on. I think at the end, I think that's your country raising.
Yeah. Country boy at heart. People don't realize it.
That's the way we're raised. And you're talking about, you tell everybody you're from Jacksonville. Oh, sorry, I don't have a cutter.
Oh, okay.
You know me, I just bite the end off of it. I need to have a cutter out here for y'all. But I told everybody I was from Tallahassee for years.
Yeah.
Because they wouldn't have a clue where Crawfordville is, Wakulla County.
Yeah.
So I understand that completely. The other thing I'd like to touch on that what you were talking about is the face-to-face stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I was touching on before when I was saying, if you want to come to the dirt floor, you can address our audience.
Yeah.
And we can have a conversation, even if you're running for political office. And I may disagree with everything that person is
saying,
feeling, but if they're willing to have a conversation, I'm willing to listen.
I think that's lost in society these days, man. I don't know, I wouldn't say I'm a conspiracy theorist or nothing like that, but I had to stop watching the news a long time ago. I read the paper, I'll catch independent folks. Shoot, even recently, TikTok and people and Twitter, formerly now known as X, to see what people are thinking pretty much in real time. You know what I mean?
No, I do, and I think that that's kind of the cigar culture.
Yeah.
And a lot of people they watch this. Thank you to the 638 people on Rumble, the almost 1,000 people on Facebook that saw it. Last episode, but me and Greg talked in depthly on the cigar culture.
Yeah.
And how that is where you have people that don't always agree with each other, sitting down, having conversations, and having in-depth conversations that I can disagree with you. And that used to be something that we could live with in this country.
Yeah.
And now it's like we all have to go to our separate corners and come out swinging, and how dare you disagree with me?
Yeah, I'll tell you, really quickly, when I realized that was an issue for me, I used to, when I was in college, watch all the news channels.
Mm-hmm.
I used to flip around from MSNBC to CNN to NBC to ABC to Fox, and this all the time because I wanted to see how a specific topic could be flipped or what's everybody saying about this topic. And I think we got to the debt shutdown maybe like 2011, 2012. And I remember, man, just being upset. Like I had got so drawn in and I was upset. And I'm a person, I speak to my parents every day. I talk to my parents every single day. Well, I'll at least call. They don't got older now, so sometimes they done got old and busy now. Sometimes they'll call me back, sometimes they don't. But it had got to the point in the night where I had called I was talking to my mom, and I was very short. I was short with her. I was angry over the debt shutdown. Mm-hmm. They couldn't come to an agreement with President Obama and the Congress, and I felt like there was games being played, and I was visibly, I was upset. I was heated. And I was like, man, I can't allow TV to get me so drawn in to the fact of it boxed me into, oh, I'm a Democrat, so well, the hell with Republicans or the hell with conservatives. I got my own ideas. Let me double down in that. Don't challenge me on anything. Don't let me critically think about anything. I'm me. I'm mine. I'm just gonna be me and mine, and that's it. And the F y'all. And I said no more. Let me start reading books of people who I don't normally even agree with that challenge my thinking. Like, how do I grow from that? Like, and this is kind of cliche to say, but I don't think it is anymore, that we are more alike than we are different. And, you know, me and Jay, we both go to FUMA at times. A lot of times, I think that's how we met there at FUMA Cigars in Tallahassee next to Lucky Goat. I'm shouting y'all out. Wink, wink, nod, nod. But being in there, man, and sitting with, it's mostly men that go there to cigar lounge, but getting to sit and have conversations with folks from every walk of life. And you realize in doing that, which I understood back in sales, is we are more alike than we are different. Like, we have, let's go back to the Pareto principle, which is the 80-20 rule. We probably agree on 80% of the things and disagree on 20% of the things. And I believe that's for the majority of folks, not just in America, but in life. And it doesn't matter if you're economically on the bottom or up here, you still agree more than you disagree in life. And I'm always proud of, I can say this too, I'm always proud to say I'm a great and proud son of the South. I wouldn't trade that for nothing in the world. I visited up to New York. I visited Chicago. Haven't been out west, but I appreciate the camaraderie and the open and giving spirit and hospitality of the South. I would not trade that, because it's easy for me to walk into any space and I'm a black male. I may see a white grandmother, but she gonna treat me like her grandson.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I don't know if I see that at different parts of the country.
Well, because because of our past.
Right.
People want to label us down here a certain way. But I have been up north. I have been out west. And one thing I'll say is, we are the only place I've ever been where black people and white people live next to each other. Where Italians live next to an Irish guy. You know, you go into any community in the South and people of the same economic level live next to each other.
Yeah.
And when you go up north, they're segregated. Big time. And
people don't realize that, man. People talk so much garbage about the South. Oh, the South is, and y'all are backwoods and backwater, and y'all are technically disadvantaged, and this, that, and the other. I've been to the North. I mean, I won't say I lived there. I wouldn't live there for nothing in the world. I don't care for it. I feel like they're under the veil of a good society. They're under the veil or the illusion that, oh, there's no issues here. This isn't the South. Oh, we don't deal with racism. I tell you what, and maybe this is politically incorrect to say.
It's all right.
Black folks get more respect in the South because white folks and every other group are up front usually with whatever it is. You know what I mean? I was raised this way. My father told me, he said, be the very best that you could be in whatever it is. And I don't care if you're a racist or anything in between. Be proud of it. Be upfront with it. Whatever crazy idea or maybe noble and just idea that you may have in life, don't tiptoe around it. Definitely be proud about it. And I think, especially speaking as a black man in the South, I love dealing with that openly white racist because he's open about it. You know what I mean? That allows me to prepare, if I need to prepare, a lot better than me going somewhere else and they had the same hate in their heart for me or for whoever else, but they're guising it in, I'm wearing the suit now, or I'm your boss, or I'm your friend, all that type of nonsense. You know what I mean?
It goes back to, I don't know if you've ever seen it. It was a brilliantly done movie with Sidney Poitier called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Yeah, they remade it with Bernie Mac and Ashton Kutcher.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Years later, yeah.
And it kind of streamlined what you're talking about. With, you know, they pretended to be so high and mighty, but because they never had to face anything.
Right.
And in the South, most of the time, unless, you know, outside of a few communities, we go to school together, we eat together, we work together. And I'm not saying there's not idiots down here,
Yeah.
because there are. But I tell you what, talking about the old white grandmother, you know who I date, and, you know, the love of my life. And I got to tell you, every time we've ever been to an event, we've always had an old white woman come sit with us. Every single time.
Yeah.
And I've experienced, out of the 5 years with dating, I've experienced 2 situations. One wasn't even a situation. It was just a couple of young guys that were drunk, black, and they weren't even saying anything out of the way. They just made her feel uncomfortable. They were more or less applauding me for being with her because she's cute. But, you know, women take things differently than guys.
Yeah.
And then I had this one tall guy that kept walking by a table a few times. We were at a restaurant just south of Valdosta.
Yeah.
And I finally had to put my hand out. And I looked at him. I said, "Sir, I don't know what your problem is. And I don't personally care. But the next time you walk past my table, you will no longer be 6'5". Because I'm going to break your knees out from underneath you." And he looked at me. And I said, "Yep." He turned, walked away, and we didn't have to deal with him anymore.
Yeah.
But that's it, you know? And the movies would have it seem like every time we step out of the car, we got to deal with people talking and, you know, blah, blah, why are you with him? Why are you with her? But that's just not the case.
Yeah. For dating and anything else, other people aren't my business. You know what I mean? I just don't care enough to. I got my own life. I have my own issues and things going on. I promise you, I'm not gonna stop at any point in my life and say, "Why are you dating so and so?" or
Right.
"Who you laying with in your bed?" and this, that, and the other. That ain't none of my business ever. As long as you ain't hurting kids or doing something pretty nefarious, and you know, to where it's an issue. I don't care what you do. Hey, dress up like a cow and moo and whatever you gonna do, man. That don't got nothing to do with me. You know what I mean?
That's some Family Guy stuff right there, ain't it?
Hey, that ain't got nothing to do with me, bro. Y'all do whatever you want. This is your life. Man, God created us all so special, right? You would waste your time being so small-minded and ignorant. And ignorant to the truest definition of ignorance, not just I believe we overuse the word ignorant in society. You know what I mean? Oh, that's ignorant. I just don't agree. That's ignorant. No. Ignorant in the most definite way, to spend time talking about just dumb stuff. Every day I wake up, I'm like, man, how can God use me today? Like,
Amen.
How can he take me to the next level of thinking? Where do I see the error in my ways? How am I doing this inefficient? You know what I mean? Before I go to bed at night, most nights, man, some nights I'm just exhausted. I just take a bath, go to bed and all that good stuff. But most nights, I'm more critical of myself than I am anybody else in life. And
As you should be as a man.
Yeah, of course. You always got to push your growth. But I'm thinking back, at night, I'm sitting down at my desk or sitting down at my table or maybe sitting on the couch, and I'm going back through all of my social interactions during the day. And I'm thinking, well, how could I have made this better? Or did this go the way I intended it to? Or what could I have said differently? That self-analysis pushing me to growth every day. And sometimes it's uncomfortable because I know for me, and I can't speak on anyone else, Man, I do everything with good intent. I don't, I don't go after people. I don't, try to conjure up and gossip and see where that go. I just don't. That's a child's game to me, And you see it so much when you log on to social media. People into this, and this, and commenting on this. Well, I didn't like that. Man, that article I wrote for the in the Tallahassee Democrat about the chambers, and bro, I tell you this, I rewrote that article at least 3 to 5 times to make sure that anyone that read that couldn't say, well, he's attacking this chamber specifically, or this organization, or this person. And again, going back to the Pareto principle of the 80-20, I would say even probably a little bit higher than that. I would say 90-10 for me in that article, 90% positive. I won't even say 10% negative. But I'm thankful and blessed that I've built my network well in Tallahassee over the past 3 years. So much so that even when I'm not in the room, I'm in the room in some capacity. So I'm blessed that these folks, my friends, my family, I call them family, will pick up the phone and call me and say, well, this is what so-and-so said. And regarding that article, I've heard mixed things of, well, he's not working directly for the chambers, or he don't know what he's talking about. Like what? Like, and then I got a call that said, they were trying to check my credentials. Like, after you read the article about the Chamber of Commerce's and me recommending, some stuff, and me reaching out to a couple of the chambers.
Well, why don't you explain the article? Because I liked it. I told you, I agreed with you 100%.
Yeah, so the article was basically, Tallahassee has 3 chambers of commerce. And I'll take this back even further, man. So I think about a year ago, and it's about to come up, and I'm going to shout them out. The Greater Chamber of Tallahassee, Access Tallahassee, which is their young professionals program or part of the chamber, I won't say nominated, but gave me an award. They said, we're recognizing you as a future 5 in this city for the work you do in the community and all that good stuff, which completely caught me off guard in life, because I do everything so genuine. Like, I'm not here to get no award. I love awards, and that's cool and everything, but I'm not doing some shit
but
for it.
Knowing you, though,
Yeah.
It was well reserved.
Yeah. But after I got that award, I got to meet Eddie Gonzalez Lumiere, who's now the chair of the chamber now. So every chair gets a year, I guess, to push their agenda or what they want to focus on. He invited me to his office, and during that conversation, he brought up the idea of, unification. Like, why do we have 3 chambers in Tallahassee? Tallahassee's not that big. So that kind of stuck with me back then. So recently, I don't know if you know Mike Goldstein. He runs.
I do. Yeah. Shout out to Mike.
Shout out to Mike.
Pedal Cars.
Yeah. So me and Mike chat a lot, man. We go out to lunch and talk about Tallahassee, because who would know better than him?
That's
you know
true.
what I mean? Because he's out in the streets. He's such a untapped resource, in Tallahassee. And that's just me. I truly feel like Mike's an untapped resource, because his ear is to the ground. But Mike hit me up, and I think he made a post about, like, why do we have 3 chambers? And we joke all the time because it seems like it runs in threes. So I'll produce an op-ed, Mike will produce an op-ed, and Eddie Gonzalez Lumiere will produce an op-ed. So he hit me on that, and I was like, man, let me write about this. Let me do some research on why do we have these chambers. So I did my research, or the best of my ability, to do the research on the history. Why do we have them? What happened? What do they each specialize in? And this, that, and the other. So I wrote an article basically saying that we could be, not to criticize anybody, but we could do better, because being in Tallahassee and in networking, man, this happens so much that we'll have 3 to 4 events on the same day.
Happens all the blasted time in this city.
It happens so much, and that's just with regular networking events. you think about chamber events that are geared towards grants or workshops that could better help businesses. And sometimes they're had on the same day, or sometimes they're overlapping on the theme of them. And that's just one part of it. But I'm like, man, we could have better unification or camaraderie between the chambers to better help the business community in Tallahassee. I wrote that article with the business community in mind. So being that career source as an account executive, that was my job. I met with HR folks, CEOs, folks like that. And I'm different. I come from a sales background. If I'm meeting with you about workforce, well, we already know we're here to talk about workforce. Let me get to know you as a person.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Let me build that relationship. But in finding that out, I felt like the business community either one was a part of one of the chambers, or two didn't know we had chambers, or three needed some type of resource and just didn't know the right way to go about it. So I wrote that article with that in mind. Like, how do I best help out the business community? So I'm like, okay, well, let me find out an organization or a chamber somewhere that consolidated in a certain aspect, but not complete consolidation. Like, I'm not saying we just need one chamber, one board of directors, one leadership team. I'm saying, no, keep your CEO or president, keep your board of directors, keep all of that. Let's provide a simple intake system to where, say you're a business owner and you're interested in one of the chambers. There's a person saying, hey, based off your goals, join this chamber. This chamber is best going to use you, or you can get the most out of your dollar with this chamber. Things like that. And I put data in there about Tallahassee and everything, and I rewrote it 3 or 4 times. And people still, it still caught flack of, I'm telling you, man, folks called me and said they were trying to check my credentials of this, and this. And I'm like, you read this article and this is what you got out of it? You tried to make sure I was who I said I was and this, that, and the other?
It's amazing because when I read the article, I knew we had 2 chambers. I did not know we had 3 chambers. Yeah. And I grew up just south of Tallahassee.
Right.
I own 2 businesses that are located in Tallahassee.
Yeah.
And had no idea that we had 3 chambers.
Right.
And I knew we had 2, and I didn't really know what any of them did.
Right.
So when I read the article, I was like, man, wow. And when you read it, you were right. You weren't saying let's dismantle any chamber. You were saying, how about we meet and plan things properly,
yeah,
put people where they need to be.
Yeah.
But I find it, even though the chamber's not government, I find so many, well, I won't even say government, because if I say government needs to be streamlined,
yeah,
everybody in the world's going to applaud me, you know, even if they disagree politically, they like the talking point.
Yeah.
But I think it's in general. You know, if you've got a boy down the street that's doing the same thing you're doing, you try to find out what he's doing right so you can do that same thing. Instead of saying, okay, well, you're doing that over there. Let's let you keep that over there, which you did that was great. Now let me piggyback in, this is what I'm doing that's a little bit different than what you're doing. And we provide good service for both sets of people that want 2 different things. It's kind of like GTG, which, by the way, LJ is a member of. Shout out to the Cigar Club.
Good Time Gang, Tallahassee. Quick shot in, man. We just started about a year ago. We have fun. It's just really a club. Men, women, whoever can join. But we're growing. I'm looking, not me specifically, but I know the club is looking for growth, to teach cigar education, to build a real network, man. And maybe this is going to be politically incorrect too to say, there are tons of social organizations in Tallahassee, and social clubs and this, that, and the other, and you jump up and down and roar and clap and cool beans. I don't care. That's cool. That's what you probably, if that's what you need in life to do, go ahead and do it. Nothing against any of that. But when I join an organization, or even think about joining an organization, I'm thinking about like, what's the purpose? Like, what are we getting out of it? So with GTG, I think we're really defining what we want to do specifically. And I'm not talking about specifically just for the community, because being in Tallahassee, we have tons of nonprofits that do this, and this. So I don't know if we need to be another club that focuses on specifically volunteering and community engagement like that. But we're in the stages of really defining everything and building. But we're a international club. We're throughout the country, but Tallahassee is growing. If you do smoke cigars, we would love to have you. Our home lounge is Market Square, the Market Square Lounge up there, but we're always in Fuma Cigars on North Monroe. We can find any of us there.
And at Jerry's on Cary Forest.
And Jerry's too up on Cary Forest. Sidebar. Just want to promote. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely want to promote the not only the club, but the cigar lounges in town.
Yeah.
Plus, what is it, 850 in Havana?
Yeah, we'll be there tonight, actually. We'll be there tonight for our first Friday. We'll do a partnership with them to support another local business. Being in Tallahassee, if folks that are watching are not familiar with Tallahassee, Tallahassee is the big city to the surrounding areas. Like, there's not really another big city. I think the biggest city from here is like Panama.
Oh, Valdosta is a little closer.
Yeah, maybe Valdosta. And those aren't big cities.
No.
But
they got a Publix and a Walmart, baby.
Right. But I'm saying that to say, when there comes a chance to support local businesses in the area, that's what we're about. GTG is about. That's what I'm about as a person. If I could do something to support them, that's what I'm all about. But we'll definitely be at 850 Cigars in Havana, Florida, which is right outside of Tallahassee tonight. I think we start up at 8, and it's just a cool time, man. If you smoke cigars, hookah, I think they serve beer. I don't think they serve liquor there, but come on out and join us with that. Another sidebar.
Go ahead, man.
Yeah.
Actually, definitely come on out. Definitely support local businesses. Not that big chain branches and stuff, aren't cool. I'm never going to tell you not to shop at some place because everybody's got a livelihood. But I am definitely a component of, even if I pay more,
Yeah.
I'll shop local if I can.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, you got to support your own. Man. Local small businesses, anything like that. We have to take care of. We definitely have to take care of and support. But back to the article, it was wrote with them in mind. Like, how do we support businesses? How does a regular business? How do we tap into the resources that we have in Tallahassee? And we're really fortunate as a community to be, on paper, the most educated county in the state of Florida. You know what I mean? Like, there is no other, in terms of education and degrees posted, there, Leon County, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is the most educated county.
No, I could see that, because what do we have?
5.
Your alma mater, FAMU, and my father's
State.
alma mater, Florida State.
Florida State, you said
Oh,
FAMU.
you're Florida State. Oh, I'm sorry.
See, people get that mixed up because I support FAMU.
Because you're always talking about FAMU. Okay.
Yeah, I support FAMU wholeheartedly. That's my adopted HBCU.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll tell you a story about that.
I apologize
I'll
for
tell
that
you a
one.
story about that later on. But people get me mixed up all the time. Like, I'm the Florida State University.
Okay. That's crazy because I've known you now for what?
3 years? 2 years?
4 years? And I always thought it was FAMU just because, well, one, you're always hanging out with FAMU graduates.
I think it's hard not to do in Tallahassee.
It's true. That's true. Okay. Well, cool. So Florida State, we lost TCC. It became Tallahassee State College, which I have my opinion on that. I think a junior college is extremely important, and I hate losing a junior college.
Well, TSC, people don't realize that TSC is bigger than FAMU in terms of numbers. FAMU, we were with President Johnson, Marvin Johnson, the president of FAMU yesterday. And I forget the gentleman that asked this question, but he asked pretty much the stats on this. She said FAMU currently has about 9,000 students. TSC, if I'm not mistaken, this was years ago. Now I looked at these numbers, had like 20,000 students.
Wow.
Like they're huge. So it just made sense that they would grow and grow and grow. And people don't really, I went to TSC, and TSC was, or TCC at the time, but the best school, one of the best at the time community colleges, but now state colleges in the country. They actually care about their students. I know so many amazing folks. President Murdoch, I'm surprised no one has stolen him for a bigger university position or somewhere bigger. But shout outs to TSC. And another great school I want to highlight is Lively Tech.
Oh, absolutely.
The technical college. It's and the reason I would say we're focusing on this, I want to really focus on the untapped, underused resources in the city.
Absolutely.
That we don't use and we don't use correctly. But we have FAMU, Florida State, Lively, Tallahassee State College, and people forget Kaiser University here too.
But and then there are James Madison branch
I think
too.
There's a Strayer University here. Like those are just the big five, but there's other things here too. But Tallahassee is definitely on paper, from what I know, most educated. But going back to, I would say, the untapped resources, when I wrote the article years prior, or about a year prior, the Chamber of Commerce let me do it's called Beyond the Basics. And I chose my topic on talent retention in Tallahassee.
Okay.
For the students. So if I remember this correctly, only 1 out of every 4 students stay in Tallahassee. And then I think within like 2 or 3 years, a lot of times that one student leaves for a bigger city. And the whole purpose of my workshop was to let folks know about all the resources that we have in Tallahassee to retain talent, that we don't really utilize at all or even know about. Just like you didn't know about all the chambers.
I did not.
Or even if you did know about the chambers, you didn't know specifically which one did what or what they specialized in and this, that, and the other. But I believe that's an overwhelming problem in Tallahassee. We don't understand or know about all the untapped resources in Tallahassee. So with the students, there's so much that we could do with them and programs to keep them here that we just don't do. Yeah.
Well, and I'm all for that. And you hit on Lively, and Lively is something that I tell everybody about, because I've said it over and over again. If I wasn't 43 and have finally turned that corner in my life to upward success, which has come with a lot of hard work and a lot of failure. If I had to do it all over again, I'd go be a plumber.
Oh man!
In a heartbeat. They're talking about in
6 figures, easy.
3 to 5 years, plumbers are going to be like the 3rd highest paid job in the state of Florida.
Yeah, you had to break that down too on why that is. Blue collar jobs in general, not just plumbers. What happened or what's happening right now, and you're in insurance, you probably know this better than me, that the generation that's retiring right now is so much bigger than a lot of the generations that came after it. So not just the blue collar jobs, but regular white collar jobs or jobs in general, they're retiring. There's thousands and thousands of them retiring daily. The folks that are coming behind them, my generation, yours, and even the generation that's coming behind me, there aren't enough of them to fill those positions.
No, there's not.
Not just the blue collar jobs, HVAC, plumbing, but regular jobs, or outside of the blue collar, there already isn't enough folks. So if you get a person let's say a regular plumbing company, and you got 4 or 5 guys that's retiring. There's not enough folks coming in that's interested in that field to do the job. So if you get one in, that person is going to be so busy
Yep.
because there's going to be so much work for them to do. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, there's going to be so much work for them to do. And I think about my folks over there in Gaston County and the high schools who may not want to go to college or nothing like that, man. They may want to get this trade or whatever. And I'm all for that. Do that because the money, say you came in a lot of parts of Gaston County, and not to talk negatively about Gaston County, is impoverished, like parts of Tallahassee.
I grew up in an extremely impoverished area.
Yeah. But, Tallahassee, and people don't realize this too, has the poorest zip code in the state of Florida.
Well, yeah, 04, right?
32304. And guess who lives in the 32304 zip code?
College students and people that
Come on,
like
it's somebody else that's really important that lives there.
Look like you.
Oh, no. Well, yeah. But it's somebody else that lives there.
That's important.
That's crazy important.
In 04?
Yeah.
I do a lot of work in 04. Most of the time I run into college kids are black people. Who lives in 04?
The governor.
Really? The governor is... I didn't know 04 went all the way to the governor's mansion.
If I'm not mistaken, the governor's mansion is in 32304.
It very well could be.
Because think about it. The governor's mansion, once you go right past that, is Frenchtown.
Oh, absolutely. Well, what used to be Frenchtown.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, no, I agree. I didn't... It makes sense that you say it. Because, I mean... Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, but I'm saying this to say that we have to do a better job overall as a community, like to have that title of poorest zip code in the entire state in our own backyard. And from what I know, it's been like that for a while. If we haven't diagnosed properly what it is that's causing that, and
well, I can tell you the main reason.
Well, it's diagnosing it and coming up with real pragmatic solutions to the issue. Don't give me some government blanket program. Tell me what's actually going to help them.
I'll tell you the main reason. And this is when you go to most... when you're dealing with country impoverished, it's a little bit different than city impoverished. We'll agree with that. But me and Greg hit on this the other day in the podcast. Me and you have to raise our kids. When you have a father in the household, all of a sudden, you ever notice that? When you got a father doing his job, you ever notice that families seem to climb out of that situation in this country? Not all the time. There's always exceptions to the rules.
Yeah.
But when you have a father that's willing to work his butt off for his family, they climb out of it faster. And me and my business partner, we do a lot of work in 04. And we see over and over again, we see a woman who has 3 to 5 kids, never been married, and at least 2, if not 3 baby daddies. And I look at them and I'm like, man, if I could have got her when she was in high school, and I could have showed her a picture of herself now, and showed her what she could have been if she would have waited to get married, how much different her life would be.
I think what you're touching on is that people don't realize it's more psychological than anything, and mindsets and cycles, because it probably just isn't that lady, and not to put the blame on the woman, because it takes 2 to make a child. But
outside of rape, though, a man only gets what he's allowed to get.
Right. Now, not only does, let's say, that young lady suffer, but she probably came from a household where that happened, and then the grandparents also had the same cycle. Like, you're generations in poverty and that poverty mindset, and they're pretty much born with it, like it's ingrained in them. So even simple ideas of, okay, well, let's come in with this, and this, and even what you're talking about, which seems very straightforward. Hey, let me help you, but it's way deeper than that.
It is.
Because that's like someone saying, and I used to hate when President Obama used to say this. He used to say, a rising tide raises all boats. Well, duh. You know what I mean? But I mean, what he's saying is completely true, but it's so many layers to all these issues. If it were something simple to solve, it would have been solved by now.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there's so many amazing folks in Tallahassee and throughout the world. You think about what's going on now, and then I think about the folks in the 50s and 60s who, especially in black culture, had dogs sicked on them and this, that, and the other, and they still stood up and did what they needed to do. I don't know if we had that same spirit and energy of today to do something like that. But if I'm generalizing how to fix these issues, it's going to take intentionality.
Oh, 100%.
If you don't want it more than somebody else, it's like somebody coming to me and I'm that person and saying, well, I can help you do this. I can send you to college. I can pay for this, this, and this. If I don't want it myself, then it doesn't matter. So I think it's getting folks or instilling in them the drive and the hope to do it themselves and to be autonomous, not wanting from anybody.
Yep.
One of my favorite books in life, I read it a few years ago, was Booker T. Washington's Up From Slavery.
Oh, wonderful book. Wonderful
And
book.
Up From Slavery, if y'all aren't familiar with Booker T. Washington, he was the founder and president of Tuskegee College. But the book takes Booker T. It's his, I believe it's his autobiography, from being born on a plantation
Yep.
to, I believe, working in the coal mines and going up to Virginia and then founding Tuskegee. But everything he did was practical. He didn't have money. So I think when he was in Virginia, he cleaned. And not just regular clean, super duper, clean to earn money to go to school. He used, it's a funny line in the Players Club with Bernie Mac. And one of the girls says, you got to use what you got to get what you want. And they were talking about stripping. But I'm saying that same mentality has to be your pride and joy. You have to use what you have to get what you want out of life. Nobody, and especially as men, you have to know nobody's coming to save you.
Nobody.
No one. You can cry, you can whine, you can pout, you can say, matter of fact, you can say everything is justified. It's justified. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. How I got here is justified. No one cares.
No one cares. Now, don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with a man crying. I mean, there are times when all of us have to, when we got to release. But, every man that's ever made it and truly made it and has had to, at some point in time in his life, look himself in the mirror and say, I'm not who I want to be. The hell with it, I'm going to go get it. And Booker T was a great example. Booker T hired one of my favorite people,
George Washington Carver.
Washington Carver. Those that don't know who Washington Carver was, he was the guy that invented peanut butter.
Yeah,
And
but that's underplaying
all the things to do with a peanut. They invited him to Congress to speak. He came down to the South, and what people don't understand about cotton is cotton strips the land.
The soil,
Bad. Which is why you can only plant cotton so many times before you can't plant it again. And he found that the peanut replenishes the soil. And so they brought him to Congress. They wouldn't even let him in because they didn't know who he was to begin with.
Right.
They bring him in, and there was only like 15 minutes left. And one of the people asked him, said, well, looking at where you went to college and stuff, how did you find out so many uses for the peanut?
Yeah.
He said, I read it in a book. And they're like, well, please tell us what book it is. He said, you swore an oath on it. He said, I went to the creator and asked the creator to tell me what to do. And if we had more Washington Carvers right now, we wouldn't have any problem with any fuel or anything. He'd figure out how to run a car off a peanut.
I think we, from that aspect, we have to create the environment that George Washington Carvers and Booker T. Washingtons and whoever else can be born and raised in. Let's not just attack issues of. I was just telling Scott earlier that we can't just have blanket statements and policies from government officials to address specific things. You know what I mean? There has to be complexities and nuances to really get things done. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. And I think I know people nowadays want to tear down our founding fathers over certain issues of our country. And, you know, not to put anything in perspective, but I think you got to look at people, when you look at historical people, you got to put them in the surroundings of their time.
Proper context.
Proper context. You know, you can't look at somebody from 1000 AD and put them with the same moral code as somebody in 2026, because they weren't living in 2026. But they set up a system that was designed with a book in mind. I don't know if you've ever read it, the Magdeburg Confession.
I have not. I may have, but it's probably been a while ago.
Okay. Magdeburg Confession, for those that don't know, is where we get the law of the lesser magistrates from. And basically the Lutherans were, you know, after the Protestant Reformation, the Lutherans were trapped in a castle in Magdeburg, and the Catholic forces were trying to convince them to come out. And they decided they were going to use the Bible against them, and you know, because Lutherans believed in sola scriptura, which is the word of God's 100%. You know, and they said, well, the Bible says if you hear a noise, my dog's walking around here. She can't quite figure out what she wants to do. But basically they said that, hey, the Bible says you have to follow the law of the land. And they thought about it, because it does say you have to follow the law of the land. And they came out and they said that you have to follow the king as long as the king's following God. If the king's not following God, you go to the prince. If the prince isn't following God, basically you work your way back down to, you know, your local pastor. If your local pastor's not following God, then you as the head of your household has to be your own magistrate. And our founding fathers kind of set that up with the states. Basically, here's what the government's role is in Washington. In the states, you do everything else. Because our governor knows better for Tallahassee. And I'm not getting into politics. Those that hate the governor in the state of Florida, feel free to comment, but I'm probably not going to respond. But he knows better for Tallahassee than the president in Washington, D.C.
Well, I think you have
and
to...
on down.
Yeah, you have to take current day politics out of it. You're talking about the system in itself.
Yes. And
right.
We're going to take a 1-minute break, and then we're going to come back.